The flash of cameras exploded like lightning around Olivia Carter as the stranger's lips pressed against hers. Her portfolio hit the concrete. The festival noise became white static. His hand cradled her head with surprising gentleness while his other arm pulled her close, protective and urgent.
You look stunning
When
tonight.
he finally released
Thank
her,
you.
Olivia's
Shall
face
we?
burned. What the hell was that? I'm sorry. His gray eyes held genuine panic beneath polished composure. They were cornering me. I panicked. Photographers swarmed closer, cameras clicking like hungry insects. Julian, who is she? How long have you been hiding this? Is this why Sienna gave that interview? The man caught Olivia's falling portfolio with practiced ease. Guys, come on. You got your shot. Back off. A lens pushed too close to Olivia's face. She flinched. His entire demeanor shifted. The charm vanished, replaced by cold steel. That's enough. Back off before I make calls you'll regret. The photographers retreated. Slowly. Reluctantly. He turned back to her, the hardness melting. I truly apologize. That was completely inappropriate. Inappropriate? Olivia snatched her portfolio back. You kissed me without permission in front of a dozen cameras. Try assault. You're right. Completely right. He pulled out a business card. Julian Rhodes. Send me whatever this costs you. Legal fees, therapy, anything. Olivia stared at the card. The name triggered recognition. Tech billionaire. Security software. Regularly featured in business magazines she never read. I don't want your money. She shoved the card back. I want you to not assault random women. 5 minutes. Let me explain. There's a coffee shop around the corner. I have a meeting in 15 minutes. Then I'll walk with you. Something in his expression stopped her from walking away. Beneath the wealth and polish, he looked genuinely distressed. Not entitled. Just honestly sorry. Fine. Talk while we walk. But if you touch me again, I'm calling the police. Understood. They moved through the festival crowd. Julian kept careful distance. My ex-fiancée gave an interview 3 days ago. Very public, very dramatic. Called me heartless and emotionally damaged. The media's been following me ever since. He ran his hand through dark hair. I saw them closing in, saw you standing there, and my brain just short-circuited. So you created a bigger problem? Story of my life. Despite everything, Olivia felt a flicker of sympathy. She understood chaos derailing carefully laid plans. They reached her corner. I really need to go. Of course. He extended his hand, then caught himself and dropped it. If those photos cause you trouble, please contact me. Olivia nodded and walked away. By the time she reached the Metropolitan Arts Gallery, she had almost convinced herself it was a fever dream. The meeting went perfectly. Mr. Tanaka approved everything. The installation crew confirmed the timeline. Olivia should have felt triumphant. Instead, she kept remembering Julian's desperate gray eyes. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Miss Carter, this is Rebecca Chen, assistant to Julian Rhodes. Several media outlets are requesting information about you. We wanted to coordinate our response to protect your privacy. Cold dread settled in Olivia's stomach. What kind of media outlets? Entertainment news primarily. A few business publications. Mr. Rhodes has instructed his team to decline all comment, but we wanted to ensure you were aware. Olivia opened her browser. Searched her own name. The first result was a photo of the kiss, crystal clear and perfectly angled. The headline read, Tech billionaire Julian Rhodes' secret romance revealed. Her phone rang again. Her best friend Cassie. Olivia Carter, you have exactly 30 seconds to explain why you're all over TMZ kissing one of the richest men in New York. Olivia closed her eyes. It's complicated. Everything involving billionaires is complicated. Start talking. As she explained, Olivia found herself replaying the moment. The way he apologized immediately. The protective way he shielded her. The genuine distress in his eyes. She should be furious. She was furious. But she was also, against all logic, curious about what happened next. 3 days later, she agreed to meet him at a small Brooklyn coffee shop. Nothing like the upscale places she imagined billionaires frequented. Artists and writers occupied worn leather chairs like second offices. Julian arrived exactly on time. Jeans. Simple navy sweater. He looked almost normal. Thank you for coming. He stood when she approached. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. They sat. The barista brought coffee without being asked. Julian must be a regular. The photos went viral, Olivia said. I've had 17 interview requests. My mother called 6 times. My boss asked if this would impact my professional reputation. I'm so sorry. My team has been deflecting everything, but I know it's not enough. He leaned forward. I have a proposal. Hear me out before you say no. Olivia's stomach tightened. I'm listening. The media won't let this go. They'll dig into your life, follow you, manufacture stories. It'll get worse before it gets better. His gray eyes held hers. Unless we give them a story they can accept. We date. Publicly. For 3 months. Just long enough for the interest to die down and for us to have a mutual, amicable split. You want to fake date me. I want to protect you from the mess I created. In exchange, I'll make a substantial donation to your gallery. Fund the entire Modern Masters exhibition. Whatever you need. Olivia should have walked out. Should have thrown her coffee in his face. Instead, she heard herself ask, 3 months? 3 months. Orchestrated public appearances. A few carefully placed photos. Then we go our separate ways and the media moves on to the next scandal. This is insane. Completely insane. Julian's mouth curved into a half-smile. But so is having your life invaded because I made a stupid decision in a moment of panic. Olivia thought about the photographers who had already found her apartment building. The colleagues whispering in gallery hallways. Her mother's increasingly frantic voicemails. If I agree, we have rules. Clear boundaries. This is purely business. Whatever you want. Whatever makes you comfortable. She extended her hand across the table. 3 months. Then we're done. Julian shook her hand. His grip was warm and firm. 3 months. Neither of them knew that 3 months would never be enough. Or that the real danger was just beginning. The charity gala glittered with Manhattan's elite. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across designer gowns and tailored tuxedos. Olivia adjusted the emerald dress Julian's stylist had selected, feeling like an imposter in silk and diamonds. Relax. Julian's hand settled on the small of her back as they entered. You look perfect. I feel like I'm wearing someone else's life. Welcome to my world. They moved through the crowd. Julian introduced her with practiced ease. Art curator. Metropolitan Gallery. Brilliant eye for emerging talent. Each word carefully chosen to establish her as more than arm candy. Olivia played her part. Smiled. Made intelligent conversation. Let Julian's hand rest possessively on her waist while cameras flashed. It should have felt fake. It didn't. You're good at this, Julian murmured near her ear as they swayed on the dance floor. Classical music wrapped around them like smoke. At pretending? At being yourself in a room full of people performing. His hand pressed against her back, steady and warm. Olivia looked up at him. In the chandelier light, his gray eyes held something she couldn't quite name. Why did you really leave Sienna? The question slipped out before she could stop it. Julian's jaw tightened. That's not part of our arrangement. You're right. I'm sorry. They danced in silence. Then Julian spoke, voice low enough that only she could hear. She wanted the version of me that looked good in magazines. The billionaire. The success story. Not the person who wakes up at 3 a.m. from nightmares about the security breach that nearly destroyed my company. Not the man whose father built an empire on ruthless decisions I'm still trying to undo. Olivia's breath caught. Julian. Forget I said anything. This is supposed to be simple. But nothing about the way he looked at her felt simple. Later, in the car back to her apartment, Olivia's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Then she saw the message. A photo. Julian, younger, maybe 25. Standing with a woman Olivia didn't recognize. They looked happy. Below it, a single line, ask him about Emily. Ask him what he did. Everything okay? Julian glanced over from the driver's seat. Olivia deleted the message. Fine. Just Cassie being Cassie. She told herself she would ask him later. She told herself the message was probably from some jealous ex or tabloid trying to manufacture drama. But doubt had planted its first seed. The second month passed in a blur of orchestrated appearances. Gallery openings. Quiet dinners photographed by strategically placed paparazzi. Walks through Central Park where Julian held her hand and made her laugh with stories about disastrous tech conferences. Olivia's exhibition opened to critical acclaim. Julian attended the preview, standing beside her as critics praised her curation. He asked intelligent questions about the pieces. Noticed details others missed. You actually care about this, she said, surprised. Why wouldn't I? This is your passion. Your art. Most people find contemporary art pretentious. Most people don't really look. Julian studied a Rothko, head tilted. They see blocks of color. You see emotional architecture. The way paint and light create spaces for feeling. Olivia stared at him. Who are you? Someone who's better at reading code than people. But I'm trying. That night, Julian walked her to her apartment door. They stood in the hallway, the pretense of their arrangement hanging between them like fog. This was nice, Olivia said softly. Thank you for coming. I wanted to be there. The space between them felt charged. Electric. Julian's hand came up, hesitated, then gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Olivia. Her name on his lips sounded like a confession. We shouldn't. But she didn't step back. I know. He didn't move away. They stood there, balanced on the edge of something dangerous. Then Julian's phone shattered the moment. He pulled it out, glanced at the screen, and his entire body went rigid. I have to go. Julian, what's wrong? Nothing. Everything's fine. I just need to handle something. He was already walking toward the elevator, movements sharp with tension. Julian. The elevator doors closed between them. Olivia stood alone in the hallway, heart pounding with confusion and something that felt dangerously close to hurt. Inside her apartment, she pulled out her phone. Opened her browser. Typed in the name from the mysterious message. Emily Rhodes. The search results loaded. Julian Rhodes' sister. Deceased, age 23. Died 7 years ago. The articles were vague. Accident. Tragic loss. Family spokesman declined comment. But there was one article, buried on page 3 of the results, from a small tech blog. Questions remain about Rhodes' security breach and Emily Rhodes' death. Olivia clicked the link. The article suggested that a security failure in Julian's early software had led to a data breach. That breach had somehow been connected to his sister's death. Implications of cover-up. Sealed records. A family burying secrets. Her phone rang. Julian. I'm sorry I left like that. His voice sounded hollow. Can we talk? I'm outside your building. Olivia looked at the article on her screen. Looked at her door. She should demand answers. She should protect herself from whatever darkness surrounded this man. Instead, she saved the article and went downstairs. Julian stood on the sidewalk, hands shoved in his pockets. He looked younger in the streetlight. Vulnerable. I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone, he said. And after I do, you'll probably want to end our arrangement. You'll probably want to never see me again. But you deserve the truth. Julian, you don't have to. Yes, I do. He looked at her with those gray eyes that had haunted her for weeks. Because this stopped being fake for me about 3 weeks ago. And you need to know who you're really dealing with. Olivia's heart hammered against her ribs. My sister Emily died because of me. Because I was so focused on building my company, on proving myself, that I ignored the warnings about a security vulnerability. Someone exploited that breach. Got access to protected information. Emily was investigating corporate corruption. That information got into the wrong hands. His voice cracked. She died in a car accident 3 days later. Police said mechanical failure. But I know better. I've always known better. Julian. So yes, I built an empire. Yes, I'm successful. But it's all built on the foundation of my sister's death. And every day, I wake up knowing I can never fix that. Never undo it. Never bring her back. Tears streamed down Olivia's face before she realized she was crying. That's why Sienna left. She couldn't handle being with someone who carried that much guilt. That much damage. Julian's laugh was bitter. No one can. I don't even blame them. Olivia closed the distance between them. Wrapped her arms around him. Felt him stiffen in surprise, then slowly, carefully, embrace her back. I'm not going anywhere, she whispered against his chest. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. They stood there on the sidewalk, holding each other while the city moved around them. No cameras. No performance. Just two people trying to carry weight too heavy for one person alone. When they finally pulled apart, Julian cupped her face gently. This isn't part of our deal. Then maybe we need a new deal. He kissed her. Soft and careful and real. Nothing like the desperate kiss that started everything. This kiss tasted like truth. Olivia kissed him back, knowing she was crossing a line she could never uncross. Neither of them saw the photographer across the street. Neither of them saw the black car that had been following Julian all night. And neither of them knew that someone was about to use their real feelings against them in the cruelest way possible. Olivia woke to 53 missed calls. Sunlight streamed through her bedroom window. She reached for her phone, groggy and confused. The screen lit up with notifications. Texts. Emails. Voicemails from numbers she didn't recognize. Her stomach dropped. The first headline stopped her heart. Billionaire's deadly secret, Julian Rhodes covered up sister's murder. Below it, a photo. Julian and Olivia on the sidewalk last night. The moment after he confessed. The moment before they kissed. The article contained everything. Emily's death. The security breach. Sealed police reports. Allegations of payoffs. Every private detail Julian had shared with her in confidence, twisted into a narrative of guilt and cover-up. Worse, it included quotes. Sources close to Rhodes confirm his current relationship with curator Olivia Carter began as a strategic arrangement to rehabilitate his public image following accusations from ex-fiancée Sienna Blake. The words blurred. Olivia's hands shook. Her phone rang. Julian. Don't believe it. His voice was raw. Olivia, please. Whatever you're reading, it's not the full story. How did they know? Her voice came out hollow. How did they know what you told me last night? Silence stretched between them like a chasm. Julian. How did they know? I don't know. I swear I don't know. We were alone. On my street. Nobody else was there. Someone must have been listening. Had equipment. I don't know, but I would never betray your trust like that. Olivia's call waiting beeped. Her boss at the gallery. I have to go. Olivia, wait. Please. Let me explain. She hung up. The conversation with her boss lasted 4 minutes. 4 minutes that dismantled 8 years of careful career building. The board feels, given the circumstances, that it would be best if you took a leave of absence. Just until this media situation resolves. Translation, you're suspended. Possibly fired. The exhibition? Marcus will take over as lead curator. Marcus, who had wanted her position since she got promoted. Marcus, who smiled to her face while undermining her behind closed doors. I understand. She didn't. She didn't understand any of this. Olivia sat on her couch, surrounded by the ruins of her carefully constructed life. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters. Gossip sites. People she hadn't spoken to in years suddenly interested in her story. She turned it off. The knock on her door came an hour later. Olivia, it's me. Please. Just let me explain. She opened the door. Julian stood in her hallway, looking like he hadn't slept. His hair was disheveled. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked nothing like the polished billionaire from the gala. He looked broken. Tell me you didn't do this. Her voice was steel. Tell me this wasn't part of your plan. Some sick game to make yourself look sympathetic. What? No. God, no. Olivia, I would never. Then explain how a private conversation ended up in every news outlet this morning. Explain how they knew about our arrangement. Explain how they had a photo of us in that exact moment. Julian ran his hands through his hair. Someone's been following me. Surveillance. I thought I'd handled it, but I was wrong. I put you in danger and I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't get my career back. Sorry doesn't undo the fact that everyone now thinks I'm some opportunist who used a man's trauma for personal gain. I'll fix it. I'll make a statement. I'll tell them the truth. The truth? Olivia laughed bitterly. Which truth? That you kissed me without permission to escape paparazzi? That we faked a relationship? That somewhere along the way it became real and we were both too damaged to admit it? Yes. All of it. I'll tell them everything if it means protecting you. You can't protect me from this. You could never protect me from this. A phone buzzed. Not Olivia's. Julian pulled his out, glanced at the screen, and went pale. What now? Olivia demanded. It's from the same number that's been sending me threats for the past month. His voice was barely a whisper. They're saying they have more. Photos. Recordings. They'll release everything unless I pay them $5 million. Blackmail. It's Sienna. Julian looked up at her, eyes filled with a rage she'd never seen. It has to be. She's the only one who knew enough about Emily. About the guilt I carry. She's manufacturing evidence to destroy me. Or maybe you destroyed yourself. The words came out colder than Olivia intended. Maybe this is just karma finally catching up. Julian flinched like she'd slapped him. You don't mean that. Don't I? I don't even know what's real anymore. Was any of it real, Julian? Or was I just another pawn in whatever game you and your ex are playing? It was real. Everything between us was real. Get out. Olivia, please. Get out of my apartment. Get out of my life. This whole thing was a mistake from the beginning. Julian stood there for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. A key.
This is to a storage unit in Brooklyn. Unit 247. Inside, there's a box with Emily's case files. Everything I've collected over the years. Police reports. Private investigator notes. Proof that I've been trying to find out who really killed her. He set the key on her coffee table. I never wanted to drag you into this. But if something happens to me, someone needs to know the truth. Someone I trust. Why would something happen to you? Because whoever killed Emily didn't want the truth to come out. And now that it's getting attention again, they're going to make sure it stays buried. Cold fear replaced Olivia's anger. Julian, what are you saying? I'm saying I might have gotten you involved in something much more dangerous than fake dating and media scandals. He moved toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, these past 2 months were the happiest I've been since Emily died. You made me feel like maybe I could be more than my mistakes. Julian. But he was already gone. Olivia stood alone in her apartment. Picked up the key. It was small and ordinary. The kind of thing that shouldn't feel heavy. It felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Her phone, still powered off, sat on the counter. She turned it back on. 17 new messages. Most from reporters. But one made her blood run cold. Unknown number. A video file. She almost didn't open it. Then her finger tapped the screen before her brain could stop her. The video showed Julian. Not from last night. From weeks ago. The coffee shop in Brooklyn where they'd first agreed to the arrangement. But the audio had been edited. I want to protect you from the mess I created. In exchange, I'll make a substantial donation to your gallery. Fund the entire Modern Masters exhibition. Whatever you need. Then Olivia's voice, from a completely different part of the conversation, spliced in seamlessly. 3 months. Then we're done. Julian's voice again, but from a different moment. Whatever you want. Whatever makes you comfortable. The video made it look like a cold business transaction. Like Olivia had sold herself for gallery funding. Beneath the video, a message. This goes public in 48 hours unless Julian Rhodes pays. You're already ruined. Do you really want to drag him down with you? Or are you going to do the right thing and walk away? Olivia's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the phone. Someone had been recording them from the beginning. Planning this from the very first meeting. And now they had enough manufactured evidence to destroy both of them. She grabbed her coat. Grabbed the key. She had 48 hours to figure out who was doing this. 48 hours to save what was left of both their lives. And maybe, just maybe, 48 hours to discover that the man she'd fallen for was either a victim of a conspiracy or the architect of the most elaborate manipulation she'd ever seen. The storage unit smelled like dust and old paper. Olivia stood in the doorway of Unit 247, flashlight cutting through the darkness. A single box sat in the center of the empty space. She opened it. Inside, files. Hundreds of pages. Police reports with sections redacted. Private investigator logs. Photos of Emily Rhodes, smiling and alive, then crime scene photos that made Olivia's stomach turn. And a journal. Emily's handwriting, neat and precise. Olivia sat on the cold concrete floor and started reading. Emily had been investigating a pharmaceutical company. Falsified trial data. Bribes to FDA officials. A drug that had killed 17 people in clinical trials but was still pushed toward approval. The company's head of security, Marcus Chen. The same Marcus who had just taken over Olivia's exhibition. The same Marcus who had been at the gallery for 12 years. Marcus, whose sister Rebecca Chin was Julian's assistant. The connection hit Olivia like ice water. She grabbed her phone. Called the one person who might have answers. Cassie, I need you to look something up. Rebecca Chin. Julian Rhodes' assistant. Find everything you can about her brother. Olivia, are you okay? The news is saying you and Julian. Cassie, please. I need this now. 10 minutes later, her phone buzzed. Marcus Chin. Head of security for Meridian Pharmaceuticals. Jesus, Liv. Emily Rhodes was investigating Meridian when she died. There's a sealed lawsuit. Wrongful death. Family of one of the trial victims tried to sue. Case was dismissed. Judge ruled insufficient evidence. Who was the judge? Judge Ronald Blake. Retired now. Lives in the Hamptons. Blake. Sienna Blake. The pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. Sienna's father had dismissed the case. Marcus Chin had likely orchestrated Emily's death. And Rebecca Chin had been feeding information to her brother from inside Julian's company for years. Julian wasn't paranoid. He was right. And Olivia had sent him away. She called his number. Straight to voicemail. Julian, if you get this, don't trust Rebecca.
She tried his office. His assistant claimed he wasn't there. His apartment building. The doorman said he hadn't come home. Panic clawed at Olivia's throat. She called the one person she swore she'd never contact again. Sienna Blake's number, please. I know you have it. Cassie didn't ask questions. Sending now. Olivia dialed. 3 rings. Then a woman's voice, smooth and cold. Well, well. The struggling curator. To what do I owe this pleasure? Where is he? I assume you mean Julian? I have no idea. We're not exactly on speaking terms. Cut it. I know about your father. About Marcus Chen. About what really happened to Emily Rhodes. Silence. Then Sienna laughed, bright and brittle. You're smarter than you look. I suppose that's why he liked you. This isn't a game, Sienna. Where is Julian? Even if I knew, why would I tell you? You're nobody. A convenient distraction he used to make me jealous. And it worked, didn't it? I got sloppy. Let my emotions override my judgment. But that's finished now. What did you do? I didn't do anything. But Marcus might have suggested to Julian that if he wanted to protect you, he should meet him. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere they could talk. Olivia's blood turned to ice. Where? Why would I tell you that? Because whatever your father did, whatever Marcus did, you're not a murderer. You're angry. You're hurt. But you're not this. Another long silence. The Meridian Building. Top floor. Security entrance. Marcus told me he was going to make Julian confess to covering up Emily's death. Get it on tape. But Julian wouldn't just confess to something he didn't do. Which means Marcus is going to make him call the police. And tell them what? That my ex-boyfriend is meeting with someone in a building where he has every legal right to be? They'll laugh me off the phone. Then you come with me. Why would I do that? Because this is your chance to choose who you want to be. The woman who let her father corrupt her. Or the woman who stops more people from dying. Sienna's breathing echoed through the phone. Meridian Building. 20 minutes. If you're not there, I'm leaving. The line went dead. Olivia ran. The Meridian Building rose like a glass tower against the night sky. Sienna stood at the security entrance, looking smaller than Olivia had imagined. Less villainous. Just a woman carrying her own damage. He's on the 42nd floor, Sienna said without preamble. Rebecca gave Marcus the security codes. They've disabled the cameras. How do you know all this? Because Marcus is my cousin. And he's been using me as his insurance policy for years. If things go wrong, I'm the one who takes the fall. The bitter ex-girlfriend with a vendetta. They rode the elevator in silence. The floors ticked past. 30. 35. 40. When the doors opened on 42, Olivia heard voices. You've been a thorn in my side for 7 years, Rhodes. Marcus's voice echoed through the empty floor. Emily was supposed to disappear quietly. But you kept digging. Kept asking questions. Kept throwing money at private investigators. You killed my sister. Julian's voice was steady despite whatever position Marcus had him in. You murdered her to protect a drug that was killing people. I protected a billion-dollar enterprise. Your sister was collateral damage. Just like you're about to be. Olivia rounded the corner. The scene stopped her heart. Julian knelt on the floor, hands zip-tied behind his back. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye. Marcus stood over him, gun pointed at Julian's head. Rebecca Chen stood to the side, face pale but resolute. Marcus, don't. Olivia's voice cut through the tension. It's over. We know everything. The police are on their way. It was a bluff. A desperate, stupid bluff. Marcus turned the gun toward her. Miss Carter. How inconvenient. Olivia, run. Julian's eyes met hers, fierce and desperate. Get out of here. I'm not leaving you. How touching. Marcus's finger moved toward the trigger. 2 birds, 1 stone. The murder-suicide will be tragic. Guilt-ridden billionaire kills his girlfriend before turning the gun on himself. Except there's a witness. Sienna stepped out from behind Olivia. And I'm wearing a wire. The police have been listening to everything. Including your confession. It was also a bluff. Probably. But Marcus hesitated. That hesitation was all Julian needed. He swept his leg out, catching Marcus behind the knees. The gun went off. The bullet punched into the ceiling. Olivia threw herself at Rebecca, tackling her before she could reach for her own weapon. Sienna grabbed the gun from Marcus's hand as he fell. Don't move. She pointed it at him with surprising steadiness. I've wanted to do this for years. Sienna, he's your cousin. He's a murderer who's been blackmailing me since my father took bribes to bury that case. Family doesn't mean much after that. Sirens wailed in the distance. Real this time. Sienna had actually called them. Julian struggled to his feet, hands still bound. Olivia rushed to him, fingers fumbling with the zip ties. You came back, he said quietly. Of course I came back, you idiot. I thought you hated me. I did. For about 3 hours. Then I found Emily's files and realized you've been fighting to expose this for years. Alone. Carrying the guilt even though it wasn't your fault. The zip ties finally broke. Julian pulled her into his arms, holding her like she might disappear. I'm sorry I didn't trust you, Olivia whispered. I'm sorry I sent you away. You had every reason not to trust me. I dragged you into a nightmare. You didn't drag me anywhere. I chose to stay. Police flooded the floor. Guns drawn. Shouting. Marcus and Rebecca were handcuffed. Statements were taken. The circus of law enforcement and eventual media began. But in the chaos, Julian and Olivia stood together. Hours later, at the police station, they sat side by side giving statements. The truth finally coming to light. Emily's case was reopened. Marcus Chen was charged with murder. Rebecca with conspiracy. Judge Blake's corruption was exposed. Sienna agreed to testify in exchange for immunity. The media narrative shifted overnight. From scandal to justice. From guilty billionaire to dedicated brother who never stopped fighting. But none of that mattered to Olivia as she watched Julian through the glass of the interrogation room. Watched him finally, after 7 years, let himself grieve for his sister without the weight of false guilt. When they were finally released, dawn was breaking over the city. What happens now? Olivia asked. Julian looked at her. Really looked at her. I don't know. Our arrangement was supposed to end in 3 months. We're past that now. And nothing about this has gone according to plan. No. It hasn't. I'm probably going to be dealing with legal proceedings for months. Years, maybe. It's going to be messy and public and exhausting. Probably. And you just got your reputation destroyed because of me. Your career derailed. Your privacy invaded. All true. Julian took her hands in his. So I have no right to ask you this. No right at all. But I'm going to anyway. Ask me what? Stay. Not as part of an arrangement. Not as a performance. Just stay with me. As messy and complicated and real as it gets. Olivia thought about everything she'd lost. Her job. Her privacy. Her carefully planned life. Then she thought about everything she'd gained. Truth. Purpose. This damaged, beautiful man who looked at her like she was the only solid thing in his crumbling world. I'm staying, she said. But we're doing this right. No more secrets. No more games. Just us. Just us. He kissed her as the sun rose over the city. A kiss that tasted like new beginnings and hard-won truth. But neither of them saw the figure watching from across the street. Neither of them knew that Marcus Chen had a partner. Someone higher up the chain. Someone who had much more to lose. And that someone had just decided that Julian Rhodes and Olivia Carter had become too dangerous to live. 3 weeks after Marcus Chen's arrest, Olivia woke to an empty bed. Julian's side was cold. His phone sat on the nightstand, which was wrong. He never left his phone behind. She found the note on the kitchen counter. I'm sorry. I had to protect you. The files Emily left explain everything. I love you. Jay. Cold terror flooded through her. Olivia's hands shook as she opened her laptop. Checked the encrypted folder Julian had given her access to weeks ago. New files. Uploaded 2 hours ago. She opened the first one. Security footage. A man entering the Meridian building the night of Marcus's arrest. Not Marcus. Someone else. Someone whose face made Olivia's blood turn to ice. Richard Holloway. CEO of Meridian Pharmaceuticals. But also, according to the document trail, something much worse. Emily's real killer. Marcus had been the weapon. Holloway had given the order. The next file was a recording. Julian's voice, clear and determined. If you're listening to this, Olivia, it means I didn't come back. Holloway contacted me yesterday. He knows I have proof of his involvement. He's offering a trade. Me for you. My silence for your safety. No. No, no, no. I know what you're thinking. That I should have trusted you. Gone to the police. But Holloway owns judges, police chiefs, federal prosecutors. The system that should protect us is corrupted at every level. Olivia was already grabbing her keys, her phone, running for the door. So I'm going to meet him. I'm going to get his confession on tape. And if I can't walk away from this, at least Emily's death won't be for nothing. At least you'll be safe. The last file was a location pin. The docks. Warehouse District. Where bodies disappeared and questions went unanswered. Olivia called 911 as she drove, speeding through morning traffic. I need police at the warehouse district, Dock 17. Julian Rhodes is in danger. Richard Holloway is going to kill him. Ma'am, I need you to slow down and explain. There's no time. Send everyone. Now. She hung up. Called Sienna. I need your help. One more time. Where? Olivia told her. On my way. The warehouse loomed against the gray morning sky. Olivia's car screeched to a stop outside. She grabbed the tire iron from her trunk. Not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. Inside, voices echoed off concrete walls. You're just like your sister. Naive. Thinking justice actually matters. Holloway's voice was cultured, refined. The voice of a man who ordered deaths over business lunches. Justice is all that matters. Julian's voice was strained. You can't kill everyone who knows the truth. No. But I can kill enough to make the rest too scared to speak. Olivia crept closer. Saw Julian on his knees, hands behind his head. Holloway standing over him with a gun. 2 security guards flanking the exits. She couldn't fight 3 men. But she didn't have to. Federal agents, drop your weapons. Sienna Blake walked through the entrance, badge held high. Behind her, actual federal agents. Guns drawn. Holloway spun, weapon swinging toward them. Don't even think about it. Sienna's voice was ice. You're done, Richard. Turns out my father kept very detailed records of every bribe you paid him. Insurance policy. And I turned them all over to the FBI this morning. You have no idea what you've done. The people I'm connected to will turn on you in a heartbeat to save themselves. That's how people like you operate. No loyalty. No honor. Just survival. The agents moved in. Holloway was handcuffed. The security guard surrendered. Julian looked up, saw Olivia, and his face crumbled with relief and horror. You weren't supposed to be here. She ran to him. Of course I was supposed to be here, you self-sacrificing idiot. He said he'd kill you if I didn't come alone. And you believed him? Julian, we're in this together. That means you don't get to play hero and martyr yourself. I was trying to protect you. I don't need protection. I need a partner who trusts me enough to fight beside him. Julian pulled her close. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't lose you too. Then don't push me away. They held each other as the agents processed the scene. As the nightmare that began with Emily's death 7 years ago finally, truly ended. Later, at the FBI field office, they gave their statements. Sienna sat across from them, looking exhausted but lighter somehow. Why did you help us? Olivia asked. Because my father's corruption destroyed too many lives. Including mine. And because you were right. Sienna met her eyes. I got to choose who I wanted to be. Turns out I didn't want to be the villain anymore. What happens now? For you? Witness protection, probably. Testifying against Holloway and everyone connected to him is going to make me a lot of enemies. But at least I can sleep at night. Thank you, Julian said quietly. For everything. Don't thank me yet. You two still have to survive the media circus that's about to explode when this story breaks. She was right. By evening, every news outlet in the country was covering the story. The pharmaceutical scandal. The murder conspiracy. The billionaire who refused to stop fighting for justice. But this time, the story was true. Olivia's gallery board called. Apologized. Offered her position back with a promotion. She told them she'd think about it. Julian's company stock soared as the truth about his integrity spread. But none of that mattered as much as the morning 2 weeks later when they woke up together, sun streaming through windows, and there were no secrets left between them. "I love you," Julian said, fingers tracing patterns on her shoulder. "I should have said it before now. Should have said it 100 times. I love you too. Even though you drive me crazy with your protective instincts and martyr complex." He laughed. "I'll work on that." "You better." They lay in comfortable silence. Then Julian spoke again. What Emily wrote in her journal. The last entry. She said she hoped I'd find someone who saw me. Not the money or the success or the mistakes. Just me. "And did you?" "Yeah." He kissed her forehead. "I found you." 6 months later, Olivia stood in front of a new gallery exhibition. Not the Modern Masters retrospective. Something different. Something personal. Broken Things Made Beautiful, a memorial exhibition for Emily Rhodes. Every piece had been selected by Emily herself, pulled from her own collection. Her dreams of curating, finally realized. Her vision, brought to life. Julian stood beside Olivia, holding her hand as people moved through the space. Critics praised the curation. Visitors wept. Emily's friends shared memories. "She would have loved this," Julian whispered. "I know. Thank you. For seeing her. For making sure she wasn't just a tragedy. She was never just a tragedy. She was a person who fought for what was right. Just like her brother." They stayed until the gallery closed. Then walked out into the New York evening, hand in hand. The city moved around them. Taxi horns and street music and 1,000 lives intersecting and diverging. Somewhere, photographers might be watching. Reporters might be planning stories. It didn't matter anymore. They had fought for their truth. Had survived betrayal and violence and the weight of the past. And somehow, against all odds, they had found something neither of them expected. Love that wasn't performance or arrangement or escape. Just love. Real and complicated and worth fighting for. As they walked through the city where everything began with a desperate kiss and a lie, Julian pulled Olivia close. "No more secrets. No more secrets. No more running. No more running. Just us. Just us." Above them, the city lights blazed against the darkness. Behind them, the gallery doors closed on Emily's legacy. Ahead, an uncertain future full of promise and possibility. They walked forward together. Into whatever came next. The end.